demo is it's called the Devil's Whisper, and what we're going to do is it's kind of recreating what you do when you strike a match, except you don't use a match, you're the match. So what we have is some phosphorus. Important that it's red phosphorus, not white phosphorus. White phosphorus is highly toxic. Red phosphorus you can get away with putting a little bit on your thumb, and that's what we're going to do. And a little bit of potassium chlorate here. Potassium chlorate, not potassium perchlorate, potassium chlorate. So KClO3, not KClO4. I'm emphasizing that. You don't want to use perchlorate. Okay. So phosphorus P and potassium chlorate KClO3. And the idea here is to take a little bit of red phosphorus, put it on your thumb, and to take a little bit of the potassium chlorate and put it on whichever finger you use for clicking. You know, this is my middle finger here. And then just click your fingers. And it's a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But when it does work, you get a sort of a nice little spark and a flash, because what's happening is that the phosphorus loves oxygen. That's the saying. Phosphorus loves oxygen. So when you give it the slightest little bit of encouragement, just by the friction of your thumb and your finger, that's enough heat to get some of the red phosphorus to sort of, so I think some of it transforms almost into ever so slightly white phosphorus, grabs the oxygen out of the potassium chlorate, and you get phosphorus pentoxide in an exothermic reaction. You get a bit of KCl as well, and heat and spark and so on. And it's the basis for a matchstick, and how a matchstick works, with an oxidizing agent and some phosphorus, and the phosphorus pulling the oxygen, exothermic reaction, burning and the wood and so on. Yeah. So I suppose the important things here is, keep them, don't mix them, beforehand. Keep them apart. If you mix them and you give them the slightest encouragement, they will react. The phosphorus will go after the oxygen in the chlorate. So all I'm taking is this, a tiny little bit, a dusting of, might give it another little bit there now. A dusting of the red phosphorus, and in the form that it's in, it's perfectly dusty and powdery, and that's what you want. The chlorate is more granular, more crystalline. So what you need to do is to be sure to grind it into as fine a dust as you can. Increases the surface area for the reaction to take place, and you have a better chance of getting it to work. So I just put a little bit into the wing boat and grind it with the spatula then. Okay. So just grind this down, and just grind, take your time, and you may do it beforehand. Just grind it into a dust. And the idea is you're going to dab your thumb in here and your finger in here and click your fingers. And I suppose the thing to try to work out is beforehand, how do you actually click your fingers? What touches what? And where the thumb touches the finger, that's where you put the phosphorus, and that's where you put the chlorate. So be conscious of it. And it's actually tricky to do, to try to click your fingers in a particular way when you're consciously trying to do it. It's easy subconsciously. When you're trying to do it consciously, it doesn't. You'll find that it's you freeze a little bit somehow. So we'll give it a go. So I'm just grinding this down into a dust. And again, when you're doing it, you can sort of emphasize the fact that large particles take a while to react. Small particles increase the surface area available for reaction. And that's why you're doing it. So it's a neat little principle in that sense as well. So that's down into a dust. Okay, you can see it there maybe. Yeah, and then we have our phosphorus. So as I said, it's a little bit trial and error, but we'll give it a go. Now, with the phosphorus, avoid getting lumps on your thumb, because when it does react and burn, it'll burn into your thumb. Okay, and you get a blister. But just try and get a dusting. Okay, something like this. Yeah, something like that. Now this again, it's a little bit trial and error. So typically when I click my fingers, I kind of click it to this side rather than that side, and then I'm looking where do I actually make contact with my other finger, and somewhere in the middle. So that's what I have there now. Okay, and we'll give it a go. And what I sometimes have as well, I just have a bit of tissue here which is damp, because if you did have too much phosphorus on here, it might just get a bit hot and just dab it down. It's fine. Now this, give it a go. You try to click your fingers consciously. It's tricky. Okay, that worked grand, thankfully, and everything's fine. Okay, now I'm going to the hospital. Bye bye.